Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome to Throwbacks, where we talk all things cool and retro. Today we're going to be talking about the retro but brand new G.I. Joe Super 7 Reaction Plus action figures. Now, you guys have all seen the Super 7 reaction figures hanging on the pegs at Target for, $10 more than they should be, or they're either in the dollar bin at such and such place. But anywho, I think they've learned from their mistakes and given us some real quality products, what we wanted for that price. So let's take a look. First, we got the never before made in any line Fatal Fluffy, which if you've watched the cartoon, you remember this guy. They came out and he was like this little critter, and then Zartan blew a whistle, and they all turned into big monsters that enslaved them on the space station, and it was weird, but really cool. And we got Duke, which, you got to make a Duke. Duke was literally the main character in the cartoon, and they did a good job with him. And good old Coco, Cobra Commander, looking good. Good old cartoon version of him. You gotta have it. And they've been showing a lot of love for Cover Girl lately, which I'm not mad about. It's good to see another Lady Joe get some recognition other than Scarlet and Lady J. I think they came out with this figure already in the Reaction line, and now it's just basically her with some better articulation. Because these are all O-ring, not 5 points of articulation like the regular Reaction. Serpentor, first time he's ever been offered on a regular card back without an air chariot, which this will just break my heart to open this guy, but it's gonna happen. Sometimes you just have to open stuff. And Ramar, which also never before offered in any line. Big, cool, big, beefy dude. He was one of the slaves that they made him fight Duke in the arena of sport, and it's the first time we ever had an action figure of him. And again, some of these, it's gonna break my heart to open these on these beautiful package. I mean, the card stock is very nice, the artwork is cool. Ramar even has a file card, so that's cool, even though he's not a G.I. Joe. Yeah, the Serpentor especially, I feel like if they ever, keep making these and they're easy to get, I'm going to buy them again just to have them on card, because they're too good not to have a carded version. Which all my regular Reaction, I'm just keeping them on the card. But let's take a look at these guys, shall we? All right, so who do we want to look at first? Well, we're going to look at somebody we've never had before, never held in our hand before, the Fatal Fluffy. Which was that say? Cobra Beast. That's what he is. And you can look at his, there's the other figures that are available. I didn't buy the Snake Eyes because I didn't think he looked good, but I did pre-order the next one that they're making. His pay grade is Animal Men. That's interesting. All right, so let's open this guy. And it comes in a nice tray there. Very thick tray. It comes with a blaster and a whip. Very cool. Of course, it's going to be a bear to get out of here. Or maybe. And the whip is nice enough. It's kind of a stretchy rubber. Plastic rubber. And here is the man himself, Fatal Fluffy. 20 to 25 bucks a pop. I don't think I'm going to be army building these guys, but I would like to have one more in addition to a carded one. And oh my god, this dude is cool. He is crazy accurate to the show. All of his joints and parts feel good, like they're not going to break or anything. And he just feels and looks like he would fit right in with the original 1980s action figure line. So that is pretty awesome. Really impressed. See, can he hold his whip? I'm sure he can. I know that was one thing that Super 7 is really looking at. They want you to be able to hold these weapons without, you know, breaking a thumb off like the original figures. All right, let's take a look at Cover Girl next. And there's her file card if you want to read that. But let's take a look at this young lady. She is the Wolverine driver. Also, you know, I guess this is really the first time an O-ring Cover Girl has been offered on a card as well. In America, at least. I know there's been some overseas versions of her with the carding, but she looks good. She comes with the good old cartoon laser rifle. They just, you know, they like Snow Job's gun, so they just used it for everybody. And again, very nice, very cool. I don't remember her being this green. I think that's how she was in just the original miniseries. Like the Mass Device, I want to say. But she looks good. Really nice looking figure. I mean, definitely looks like she fits in with the, you know, the 80s figures. Her head is not as stiff as those older figures are, which is nice, which means you can not worry about breaking it, I guess. But yeah, she's got all the articulation and good. I was kind of worried about, did they have the arm swivel? Because in the package it looked like they didn't, but they do. And they're just like GI, you know, regular GI Joes. I don't know if they're the same mold. If they're, because they're very, well, no, they're not. Because yeah, that is different. I thought that was the same mold, but it's just very close. And we'll do comparisons in a little bit. Let's get to Ramar, the gladiator who had to fight Duke in the arena of sport, who was actually a nice guy at the end and, you know, helped free the other slaves, and was, you know, voiced by Peter Cullen, which made me remember him even more. There's his card if you want to read his info. And let's open him up. I would love to keep these guys on card. Hopefully I can come across another set at some point that won't break the bank. These figures are just too good not to open. And he's just like the Fatal Fluffy. He's big and bad, and he is well articulated. The sculpt on him is good, but it's not too good. You know what I mean? It's not modern. Like, it definitely would fit in with the 80s Joes. And I love that. You know, I love the comics more than the cartoon, but you gotta love the comic. The cartoon universe is just too classic, you know. If you were a kid in the 80s, you watched G.I. Joe, and you remember these guys. Even if you don't remember it vividly, you will remember it. And all right, good old Serpy. Let's take a good look at Serpentor one more time, because this is going to break my heart opening this beautiful, beautiful package. And there is his card. At least I'm documenting it, right? And it says Stuff and Things. And, you know, again, that's the first time he comes with, on a card, no Air Chariot. And he comes with a knife, which I think the original one only came with a knife. Serpentor did just like to basically fight hand to hand. Get out of here. Knife is being a pain. Gotta use my knife to get my knife out of here. Alright. And it looks nice. Sculpted and painted very well. Oops. Alright. And very interesting. But first, The only other accessory he comes with is one of those weird gel packs, so he doesn't get stinky in the package. Interesting. I don't think I've ever seen one of these come with a 3 3/4 inch action figure before. Very interesting. But, you know, hey, make sure we don't have a stinky Serpentor. And the first thing I notice is his cape is really weird, but, you know, the original one had a weird cape too. Like, it feels like a ribbon material, but it's also pretty sturdy. It looks like his snakes are sculpted on. I don't know if the backpack thing, let's take his cape off. Make sure I can get it back on. I'm just going to take it off to there because I want to see if, okay, so the snakes were sculpted onto this back whatchamajiggy. And I'm sure you can just pop that out of the back if you ever had to change his screw in his O-ring. Yeah, it's very good. Very good, very Serpentor-ish. One disappointing thing also is I kind of was hoping they would do like a removable helmet, but nope. You know, like the original one, you could remove his helmet, but trust me, you didn't want to. He looked crazy. But the head sculpt is pretty cool. Yeah, I think that works. I think if they had made a line just from the cartoon and it wasn't like its own thing, that would have worked. I like all these new figures, how they're just, you know, they would fit right in. But of course they're not, my figures are, you know, 40 years old at this point. They're starting to get kind of brittle, and I don't really want to mess with them anymore. Just keep them under lock and key. And let's see. And we'll look at Cobra Commander next. Good old Cobra Commander, the enemy leader. Cobra! And he looks like, you know, you would expect in his beautiful blue uniform. Again, the card stock is very nice, very good quality. They all come unpunched, which again breaks my heart to have to open this. And here is, and you can read that if you want. I might actually cut these out. Why not? And then I'll mix them in with my vintage ones and forget which ones are what. Because I always do stupid things like that. But let's open him up. All right, Cobra Commander. Supreme leader of Cobra. Former member of Cobra Law and father to Billy Kessler. And what does he come with? He comes with a couple Pew Pew Bang Bangs. And I guess they're accurate to the show. Not really sure. They are kind of just one color, but they are sculpted nice enough. And I think this was kind of a cartoon take on his, like, hairdryer gun. I don't know, but they look good. And here he is. Let's take a look. And he's probably been the first one yet that's kind of came a little bit discombobulated out of the package. That's probably my fault. All right, let me stand him up and take a good look at him. You know, for me, the cartoon Cobra Commander was always very distinct because he had that white stripe on his helmet, and the helmet just looked sharp. His uniform looked sharp. You know, all the detail was there. A lot of the detail on the cartoon was simplified, like they didn't give him his knife, and he doesn't have that. I'm kind of glad he doesn't have the weird backpack thing, because I never liked that. But there he is, Cobra Commander. All right, and last but not least, sorry for the long video, but I wanted to share this with you. Good old First Sergeant Duke, and he looks very cool. And just as I like the artwork, you know, I like that better than the smiling, hey, we're at the company barbecue, you know, kind of smiley face that you see on Duke. You know, he's got more of the stoic, you know, kind of gruff First Sergeant look that you would expect to lead G.I. Joe. And more of the back. Collect them all. Yes, I try to. And there is his card if you want to read it. There it is. And whatever that is. And there it is. All right, so Duke. on card and Duke off card. Well, the smaller figures, you can get them out of there well enough. Some of the bigger figures from Super 7 are super pain to get out of their packaging. And what is this? This is his, I guess, mind control headband thing that he wore in the cartoon that they put on him. And, well, I'm sure it fits on there, right? I just don't want to force it and break it. There it is. Duke with his Woodstock headband. Nah, just kidding. He looks cool. Yeah, let's take that off because let's be real, we're not going to pose him with that. And very good detail on this guy. All the cartoon boxes are checked. He's got the stylized on the wrong side of his uniform jump wings. And he's got the bandolier that doesn't really hold anything. Got the weird brown boots, kind of the brighter color green, and his khaki army shirt with the kind of weird orange shoulder boards. And the head sculpt, that looks like Duke, yeah. I think so. They even painted his eyebrows, that's nice. And you know, I always noticed his boots had that weird kind of thing around them, like outline. And let's do some quick comparisons. Let's see. Here is a custom cartoon Duke I did back in the day. I'm pretty close, looks like, actually. See, I even did the little, he has a knife on his boot. They didn't do the knife on the boot. I think they tried to, you know, take away as many weapons as they could. But there he is. Let's see, here's real Duke, which mine's a little faded, but you get the idea. And there he is, Duke and Duke. All right. And let's see, there is Cover Girl and Vintage Cover Girl, which you're like, why is her hair different? Well, Cover Girl was the rare cartoon character that actually changed her hairstyle, and I think that's fair because women do that. But you know, I never liked the original Cover Girl head sculpt. I always thought she looked kind of like a big potato. And you know, I thought this was the same sculpt, but no, it's different. It's really accurate to the cartoon, and I dig it. And I'll probably make another one that is kind of in the more brown outfit, I bet, if I had to guess. But there they are. Cover Girl. All right. And okay, let's do Serpentor. I remember I said Serpentor had a weird cape. I still can't. It's like kind of, I don't know. I don't even know what it is. It feels like a cloth on one side and like a sparkly, I don't know, bug net on the other side. And like I said, I always felt like Serpentor's helmet wanted to come off. And of course, being the inquisitive kid I was, I did rip it off at some point and immediately wished I hadn't because it looked horrible. But there they are. And I think the back of his head thing is a little smaller, as it probably really should be. But there they are, Serpentor. Definitely recommend getting this guy. He is awesome. Crazy green cape and all. All right. And who else do I have? Let's see, Ramar. So first, well, I mean, obviously there was no vintage Ramar, but I'll show you the custom one I made of him, so you can kind of get the gist of what he might have looked like as a Joe figure back in the day. And I haven't looked at this figure yet. I don't think I did too bad of a job, to be honest. But pretty cool. And of course, there's no Fatal Fluffy. And Cobra Commander. Of course, Cobra Commander had a few differences in his action figure. You know, helmet shape, placement of the Cobra sigil, knife on the thigh, But this, you know, like having a black shirt instead of a light blue shirt under his tunic, and the short gloves opposed to the gauntlets. But, you know, this is how he looked in the cartoon, and they knocked it out of the park. They nailed it. So, good job, Super 7. I was mainly just worried about them kind of being of a weird kind of texture or something that, you know, maybe you don't really want. You know, they've done such a good job recently with Classified and everything else. Like, it would have really been horrible to get these figures, and they just suck. So I'm glad they don't. Alright. And of course, I had already bought, oops, sorry, Tomax and Zaymot, which are the only other ones I have. Let's put those over here. And of course, like I said, I didn't pick up the Snake Eyes because I just didn't think he looked good. He had like this weird blue on him that, I don't know, maybe that's how he looked in the Deke cartoon. I don't remember. But there is Tomax and Zaymot. So, other than Snake Eyes, here is all the Super 7 Reaction Plus action figures, which I'd highly recommend. Get them while you can. They don't seem to be sticking around like the regular 5 points of articulation reaction figures, as one would expect. But they do look good. And these are, again, if you watch the cartoon, you can't help but love these figures, and they look great. And if you watched this far, please do us a favor, give us a like, subscribe to the channel. We have new content every day, and on behalf of me and Big Buddy Brad, we are going to throw one back. And until next time, we'll see you.